So I will be presenting a paper on the effect of droughts in Zambia, and we are also looking at the role of social cash transfers. And this is joint work with Katrin Gassior from SASPRI, Pierre Rattenhuber from UNU-WIDER, and Adnan Shahir from the University of Bologna. The motivation for this paper is that Zambia was affected by a series of strong droughts in recent years, and last year Zambia declared national emergency due to shortages in food and electricity supply. We tried to answer four questions in this paper. First, we use historical rainfall data to identify the size of the shocks, of rainfall shocks, and we focus on droughts in this paper. Then we assess the distributional effects of droughts, and then we look at the role of social cash transfers. First, we try to estimate the mitigating role of the social cash transfer program under existing rules, and then we propose some reforms and come up with some policy recommendations. We use two data sources in this paper. So first we use district-level data on monthly rainfall from January 1980 to December 2022. And to estimate the distributional effect, we use National Survey 2022 Living Conditions Monitoring Survey. It's a very rich data, so we have a lot of details on household characteristics, household income, household consumption. And we use tax benefit microsimulation model for Zambia, MicroZamod. This is one of SouthMod models, which is developed and maintained by UNU-WIDER together with national teams, together with Euromod team and LSC and SASPRI. So just a couple of words about the model. It's a static model in the sense that we only look at the direct effect. We don't look at general equilibrium impacts. But a big advantage of this model is that it's very detailed. So we have a lot of details on household characteristics, a lot of details in the way taxes and benefits are modeled. So this allows us to simulate also reforms at a very granular level. So as I will show you, we propose to change some eligibility conditions in this paper. The approach is really very straightforward. So what we want to do, we want to shock the model, the input data set with the effects generated by droughts. We don't estimate the effect of droughts ourselves, so we take existing estimates from the literature. And basically, we shock four variables in the model: household non-food consumption, purchased food consumption, own produced food consumption, and income from agriculture. We construct several scenarios. So in some of these scenarios, we shock only some of these variables, but our baseline scenario is the one where we shock all four. Then we model two climate shock, two rainfall shock scenarios. One is the one that we call optimistic. So for that scenario, we take the average of rainfall shocks that were observed in Zambia in 2015 and 2022. Since 2015 was still quite like normal year, we see it as a optimistic scenario, and in pessimistic scenario, we simply take the shocks that were actually observed in 2022 and implement this shock in the data. So this is the first result. This is the distributional effect of drought that we estimate. This figure shows the deviation in household consumption from no drought scenario. So the green dots show optimistic scenario and red dots show the pessimistic drought scenario. Just two main takeaways from this figure. First, we see that this effect is really quite substantial. So in bottom decile of consumption distribution, the effect on the pessimistic scenario, the effect on consumption is about 40%. And second takeaway is that we see that the effect is regressive, so poor households are more affected. And now we focus on social cash transfer. Why particularly on this program? Two reasons for that. First, this is the primary social protection program in Zambia supporting low-income households. And second, in 2024, the Zambian government used this program as an emergency response to drought. The main characteristics of this program is the following. So the benefit is paid at the household level. It's 200 Zambian kwacha per household per month, regardless of household size. There are additional 200 kwachas for individuals with disabilities. And then household has to pass two eligibility tests. First is the household composition test. So only this program targets specific households, in particular female-headed households with multiple children, households with disabled or elderly members, and child-headed households. And the second eligibility test is the living condition test, which is based on proxy means test. And this figure shows the result for estimated mitigating effect of the existing social cash transfer program. So the blue bars show the effect of drought on consumption with social cash transfer, and the green dots is the effect if we remove social cash transfer as it exists now. So you can see that the effect is quite substantial. Social cash transfer, according to our estimates, prevents consumption drop by about 25%. And the benefit is quite well targeted. So the effect is concentrated at the bottom deciles of consumption distribution. But when we look at the effect on poverty, one thing that I would like to mention is the following. So this is the effect on poverty gap. Again, blue bars are is the effect on poverty, is the poverty gap with social cash transfer, and the green dots show the effect without social cash transfer. And we see that the social cash transfer reduces the poverty gap, but what is important is that this mainly comes from female-headed households, which is kind of something that we would expect given that this benefit is particularly targeted at this type of households. But what we see is that male-headed households are also affected by droughts. And that's why in the paper, so we construct several reform scenarios for the social cash transfer. The first we call automatic response. This is kind of a perfectly targeted benefit. So what we do, we assign in the model, we assign this benefit to all households whose consumption drops due to droughts below a certain threshold. So we know it's not possible in reality, but we do simulate this scenario, and then we use it as a benchmark, as a perfectly targeted benefit. And then we propose two actual reforms. We test two reforms. In one reform, we suggest to exclude the living conditions test and keep only household composition test as the eligibility criterion. And in the second reform, we remove household composition test and keep only the living condition test. And then we simulate doubling the amount of this benefit in drought-affected districts. And this is the main result. This is the result on consumption. The bars again show the reduction in consumption because of the drought. And I would like to draw your attention to, and these colored dots and squares show the effect on the reformed social cash transfer. And I would like to draw your attention to these red squares and yellow squares. So red squares is our perfectly targeted benefit, where we give the benefit only to those households that are mostly affected, and the yellow square is the reformed social cash transfer, where we remove the household composition test, and we base the eligibility only on proxy means test. And what is important is that we see that we are able to replicate quite closely the effect of perfectly targeted benefit. And here is the result on poverty rate and poverty gap. And again, similar conclusion. So first of all, by reforming social cash transfer, we are able to prevent an increase in the poverty gap of about 10 percentage points and about 10 percentage points increase in the poverty rate. And again, yellow squares and red squares are quite close to each other, so the removal of household composition test allows us to replicate the effect of perfectly targeted benefit. And so here come the conclusions. So first we show that droughts have regressive effects on households. So poor households are disproportionately affected. We show that under the current policy rules, social cash transfer provides relief, but but it is somewhat limited in scope. And we find that the main kind of the main reason why for that is the household composition eligibility criterion. So this composition criterion does not prevent many households that are affected by drought. It prevents these households to receive the social cash transfer. And we propose to reform the benefit and to remove household composition test and in the drought affected districts. Thank you very much.